Hello, I'm Mrs. Charity. Welcome to the Glorious Heritage Overview of Catholic Church History. Discover the amazing story of the Church together as a family as you color and paste your way through the timeline and printables, which you can find on our website. And now, let's move into our topic for today.
Hello, I'm Mr. Charity. Welcome to the Glorious Heritage Catholic History video series. Today's topic is number 33, the conversion of the Franks. If you look on your timeline and summary question sheets, you'll notice that we are in the Orange time period, which we have named Establishment. If you don't have a timeline or summary question sheets, you can find them on our website. Let me tell you the parable of the wine and the wine bottles, which is found in the Gospel of St. Matthew chapter 9, verses 16 and 17. This is what it says. And nobody putteth a piece of raw cloth unto an old garment, for it taketh away the fullness thereof from the garment, and there is made a greater rent. Neither do they put new wine into old bottles. Otherwise the bottles break, and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But new wine they put into new bottles, and both are preserved. Do you understand what this means? Let me try to explain it. Our Lord was teaching us that we cannot mix the old and the new. If we try to fix an old garment with a new piece of cloth, the old garment will rip even more because the new cloth has not shrunk yet. Similarly, if we try to store new wine in old wine bottles, the old wine bottles will burst because the new wine is still fermenting and expanding. We will lose both the wine and the wine bottles. Therefore, we should use new cloth for new garments and new wine bottles for new wine, so that both can last longer. I hope that's clear to you. Now, this parable reminds me a lot of the Romans and the barbarians. But you may wonder, how? How does wine and wine bottles remind me of Romans and barbarians? Well, think of it this way. Let's say that a religion, like the Catholic faith, is like a wine, and the people, like the Romans and barbarians, are wine bottles. Every people has a religion, whether it's the true Catholic faith or some false religion. For example, the Roman Empire was a pagan empire. The Romans worshipped many false gods and followed pagan rituals for most of their history. Their whole culture and society was based on paganism. They were like old wine bottles that had been filled with the old wine of paganism. The barbarians, on the other hand, did not have a civilized empire like the Romans. They were like new wine bottles that had not been filled yet with any wine. In the 6th century, the largest tribe of barbarians was the Franks. You may recall that we talked about Clovis, the king of the Franks, in an earlier video. He was married to a Burgundian princess who also was a Catholic saint, and her name was Saint Clotilda. Clovis was baptized by Saint Remigius and became a Catholic. When he did, the entire kingdom of Franks also converted to Catholicism. So if the Catholic faith is like wine, and the Franks were like wine bottles, then when the barbarians became Catholic, it is like putting new wine into new wine bottles. The Catholic faith was new to them, and they were new to the faith. The Catholic faith and the Franks grew together, and they adapted to each other. As time passed, the Frankish barbarians changed. Their Catholic faith influenced their behavior, their speech, their thoughts, and their lives. They became more civilized and charitable. Gradually, the barbarians turned into Catholic kings and knights, monks and priests, and peasants and workers. The wine and the wine bottles aged together and fitted each other nicely. This new civilization of Catholic barbarians is called Christendom. If you have ever heard of Gregorian chant, that is because the Franks helped to make it the chant of the Catholic Latin Rite. The architecture of churches and basilicas, the local Catholic customs and traditions, and so much more, all of it was the result of the barbarian culture and the Catholic faith coming together. The Catholic Church as we know it today, with all its beautiful devotions and traditions, owes a lot to the conversion of the Franks. Think of all the French saints that you know. King St. Louis, St. John Vianney, St. Joan of Arc, St. Bernadette, St. Vincent de Paul, St. Therese of Lisieux, St. Francis de Sales, St. Clotilda, St. Louis de Montfort, and so many more. They are all descendants of the Franks. Now, Mrs. Charity will tell you about the name that most French kings chose, and that name is Louis.
Hello, I am Mrs. Charity. Do you know the names of any French kings? Have you ever heard of King Louis? There were many French kings who were called Louis. For example, how about Saint King Louis IX? Did you know that the name Louis comes from the name of the first Catholic French king? Remember, Mr. Charity just told you about the conversion of Clovis. Well, if you take the name Clovis and remove the C and change the V to a U, then you have the name Louis. Yes, the name Louis comes from the name Clovis. It is the same name.
Welcome back. Now let me tell you a very quick story about America and France. After Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492, many other Europeans followed him across the ocean to find new lands of their own. The French landed in Canada and explored America also. They gave French names to many places they found. I'm going to tell you the names of some places in America, and you can try to guess what they all have in common. Are you ready? Louisiana, which is one of the 50 states. Louisville, which is a city in Kentucky. And St. Louis, which is a city in Missouri. What does Louisiana, Louisville, and St. Louis all have in common? Well, if you guessed they are all named after the French King Louis, then you're right. There are many places in America that are named after the French name Louis, which we just learned comes from the name Clovis. You see, history is very important, and the history of the Catholic Church is very, very important. Well, that's all for today. Don't forget to join us in our next video, which is about the early church councils and how they fought against heresies. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new today. Visit our website, www.gloriousheritagecartoons.com, where you can find more educational supplements, cartoons, books, and printables. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram to get notified of our latest updates and videos. And if you like our work and want to support us, you can make a donation on our website or on Patreon. We really appreciate your generosity and kindness. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, and see you next time.